Greetings! I am Herbert Erpaderp, and today I'm going to assemble this 28mm StuG III kit that was recently released by Rubicon Models. The box art has a pretty cool picture, and it lists the many variations available in this kit. I am building the mid-production StuG. The rear of the box has a whole bunch of historical information, a picture of the included decal sheet, and a painting guide. Inside the box you will find the sheet of decals, 3 individually packaged sprues, and this instruction sheet. The instructions are good, but there is one issue with a mislabeled part. Fortunately, Rubicon caught it fairly quickly and made a Facebook post with the correct image. The part numbers for the mid and early roof were simply swapped, so just be careful during assembly. Having a quick look at the sprue, you can see that the parts are all rather crisp looking and nicely cast. There are so many part options here that my bits box is going to be happy with all the unused parts. The first step is to assemble the track sets. The only problem with these is there is a little bit of a mold line on the tracks that needs to be cleaned up. The rest of the parts in the kit really only needed cleanup where they had been clipped from the sprue. As always, it pays to test fit the pieces before gluing them. The track sets go together really nicely, with little effort and excellent detail. I wish more sets of tracks were like these. Looks good, doesn't it? Now the track sets can be glued to the lower hull. This is made easy by the guides cast into the side of the hull and the rear of the track sets. The lower hull is completed by gluing on this plate. Now to begin on the upper hull. A decision must be made here as to the placement of the spare wheels. If you choose to mount them on the hull, you need to drill mounting holes for them before gluing the hull parts together. Then we install this part, which holds the gun. It allows the gun to elevate and depress unless you glue it into place. I've left it freely moving for the time being. And then this piece goes here on the engine deck. It may be a little hard to see right away, but this slight recess here is the guide for this part. The round air ventilator needs to be cut off the bar part if you want to build the early version. It can be a little bit tricky to position correctly, so be careful. Now it's time to glue the upper and lower hull parts together. I quite like the peg things that help ensure that the parts are aligned correctly. I then glued on the driver's vision device and armor plates. This is another point where there are decisions to be made based on what version you are building. I then added the spare track to the lower front plate and attached the gun mantlet, for which there are 2 options. Now onto the gun. Like most plastic kits, this gun has a solid end. I took care of that with a drill and my knife. It also had some tiny mold lines that needed cleaning before being glued in. The gun was kind of a tight fit, but it didn't need any trimming. I like that the end of the gun is shaped such that it will only fit in one way. I kind of like being able to move the gun up and down. Now to begin the roof. Don't forget to double check that you're using the correct roof piece. There are 3. I'm sure future runs of this kit will include corrected instructions. Be sure to place the ring that goes around the hatch the right way so that the hatch itself will be positioned correctly. I glued the machine gun into the gun shield and glued that to the roof. You can also glue the shield in a down position or omit it completely. I make minor adjustments to the machine gun before the glue dries, and then the roof is ready to be glued down. Gluing the roof on is pretty straightforward, and the model is almost complete now. I'm now adding the final details, starting with this part, which has the exhaust pipes. Then I glue the halves of the spare wheels together, making sure to glue the back part the correct way around. It can be rack mounted or lay flat on the engine deck, as I have opted to do. Next I add the commander's hatch. I had to use my knife to jimmy this into position. And finally I add the Scherzen, or rather I place it on the side of the tank without gluing. It sits there by itself quite nicely. I'm going to leave it unglued until I paint the model. It should make the painting process slightly easier. That would have been the last part of the build had I not forgotten to add the headlight in the 3rd step. Here is the finished product. I'm really pleased with this kit. It's the second I've built from Rubicon, and if this is anything to go by, they're definitely improving upon an already great start. The Tiger I built was also rather awesome, and I will probably actually buy more of both kits. The instructions, minus one tiny error, were very well detailed and easily followed, and I quite like that they included some historical facts. The plastic itself is very nicely moulded, only had very minor mould lines on some parts and was otherwise free of imperfections or blemishes. I really appreciate the large number of options you get in these kits. It's great, and it's something kits in the same scale from the likes of Warlord are unfortunately lacking. The included decals look pretty good and offer a variety of markings. I think this is going to look fantastic when I get around to painting it. I shall soon have a mighty force of bolt-action Germans. I hope this has been helpful for you if you're sitting on the fence about purchasing Rubicon models. I shall now commence work on the Rubicon Hanomag kit that I just got. If you enjoyed this video, it would be awesome if you subscribed. Thanks for watching. Farewell.